Hello and welcome. This is AlchemistExe. So this week in TAGA there is nothing new in terms of releases nor content. Content, of course, has been relatively sparse just in general. But this week does have a very, very large amount of reruns. There is Mobius for Tower-wise. For regular quests, there's a giant slew of quests, a bunch of seasonal stuff, a bunch of job pluses are tied behind those quests. So if you missed out on any of them, I would recommend taking a look. Take a look through the coin shop, see if there's anything good in there that you could grab. Since there's not much else to do this week anyway, it's a good time to get caught up on that. And then, of course, there are the boss battle quests are rerunning. If you're anything like me, you're probably done with most of them, but even when I was looking through after the reset, there were a couple I still hadn't finished yet, so you could get a little bit more gems. You could definitely get some more Zenny. Zenny being almost as scarce as gem these days, with all of the other stuff that they have given us recently to be able to raise characters. And I'm at a point where sometimes I'll just raise a character because I want to, not because I necessarily need them. Julia, for example, just got some buffs. I don't know if they're enough to push her to a next level, like say the buffs for Nimble, but I've got the shards lying around and I have enough shards of her that I can't max her out, but I could get her to a point where I could at least test her and see what she's made of. But the only real limiting factor for all those resources at this point is Zenny, just because after everything they've given us, they didn't really make it rain Zenny. So there are ways around this. You can farm the Friday quest. Then, of course, there are the boss battle quests, which if you haven't finished them yet, you'll get chunks of platinum ingots. And then if you have a ton of event skip tickets / AP / all of that, you could even go into the infinite loop. And while it's not a really great or efficient source of Zenny, it is still technically an unlimited source of Zenny. And you might get a bunch of other materials along the way too. So it's not all bad. But I think what we really, really need at this point is a Phantom of the Kill rerun, just so we can farm Zenny from that one stage. So as far as banners go, I'm not going to do the overview this week either. I know it's been kind of a common thing, but there hasn't really been anything noteworthy. It's been very, very formulaic lately. There's either something brand new, which is a very expected formula, whether that's a memento character with a 20-step guarantee, a new memento that has a 9-step with a selector, and then almost every banner has been paid. The only two that aren't paid right now are voucher banners, which I am on record as saying that I do not care for. And if you don't know why, the main reason is twofold. One, I don't like the pool of units. You can't get dragons nor link units from them, either units or their respective mementos. And then two, the consolation prize, the vouchers themselves, I just don't think that they get anything that's really worth spending gems on. A lot of it is just kind of convenience stuff. So hopefully the coming weeks this month will have something at least a little bit more worthwhile. But the main thing that I wanted to talk about is the concerns that I have for the game, because I have to say at this point I'm probably the most concerned about an imminent EOS than I have been basically ever as far as the Japanese version of the game goes. And the main reason that I feel this way has to do with progressing through the main story, because I was a little bit behind. I decided to just power through chapter 8, which I did over the last week, and I got to the point in the chapter where they stop having maps for each segment of the quest. You know, normally you'd have 10 maps per segment, and then it transitions to just being 9 sets of cutscenes and then 1 map in slot number 10. And I found this to be very worrying. Not that I'd particularly missed the maps that I wasn't getting, because they tend to be pretty basic or just a means for storytelling. But what was a red flag to me is just that it seems very much like a cost-cutting measure, right? Because then they don't have to spend that time developing those maps and, more importantly, paying the people to develop those maps. And I just find that very worrying, because they're not even keeping up the basic formula that they had established. It's just something that they put in there, or well, didn't put in there, and then just going forward. And then when you combine that with just the lack of content everywhere else, like lack of seasonal events, we haven't gotten anything for summer, for example, nor autumn festival. This year has almost been entirely devoid of seasonal events, as far as I know. It's not devoid of events. You know, we got the Kudenstein box event was the last time we got one of those, and then of course Agatha got one too. So they've been making content, but just at a much slower rate than they used to, even compared to 2023. And then just seeing how the story mode is being handled now, combined with the roadmap of repeating over and over again that they want to finish the main story this year, possibly this month, because they're really, really close to being done. But then nothing about what they plan to do after that, which I think a roadmap is always very, very good for a live service game. And the lack of one, coupled with noticeable cost-cutting measures, it definitely seems like an EOS could be imminent. So just October is going to be a very telling month when it comes to that. So, of course, the most doomery scenario is that as soon as September is over, they announce it and then they say whatever the duration is going to be, and then the main story is the last of the content. Amane would be the last unit released, etc. So that's like the worst case scenario. The next worst case scenario is that EOS is going to be happening soon, but not immediately, not next month. It's like maybe the end of the year, maybe the 9th anniversary, but we would see a continuation of what we've already seen with just lack of content, and just it would become even more noticeable. Like maybe it's just a unit and we don't even get like a regional memento or anything like that, or no new score challenge quest, etc. That at that point the writing would very much be on the wall. And then a slightly more optimistic scenario is that it doesn't go back full swing, but we do get some kind of regular updates every month and some indication that they have some future plan for the game outside of a few months. I think right now there's not really enough information to say. As soon as October is nearby, if we see anything on social media, that kind of thing, as far as like a new design for a character, just anything to help put those fears to rest would be nice. And if I get any information related to that, I will definitely put it in a community post. But that is all I have got for this week. So I don't want anybody to summon because the banners are terrible, but nonetheless, I still wish you good luck, and I will see you all next time.